Hi, everybody. I'm Allison Kent, the owner and creator of The Home Kitchen, a site for musings about food and gatherings, artisanal kitchen products, and kitchen design. And we're chatting today with 9 women for International and Miss Reisa Pollard
Hi,
from Beyond Beige.
how you doing?
Hey, darling.
Great, thank
I'm
you.
doing well. How are
Happy
you?
International Women's Day.
Yes, I was excited to talk to you today because we haven't even talked
Okay.
about this, so I'm going to spring this on you. But after you tell us for a minute, like about Beyond Beige and about your wonderful world of design, because I love your feed. I have loved you for so long, you know that. And I
Oh,
have a story about when we met that we're going to talk about. But
all
tell
right.
us about
Yeah,
Beyond Beige.
where do we start? I mean, we're almost 20 years deep now. Our
We're-
20-year anniversary is coming up next year. And so to stay relevant in this fleeting industry is accomplishment on its own. But Beyond Beige has always stayed sort of true to its roots of, kind of doing its own thing. Following trends and bucking trends at the same time, and staying really connected to the client has created that intimate relationship with them that has created the diversity and the work that we do. So we're very proud of that. We are a really tight knit family here. So we feel that we are blessed just in our internal workings, and that we have such a diverse crew in the same way that we have diverse clients. And so it creates a really interesting dynamic as we have these different personality types come in. And work here, and then different personality types come in and work with us. So uh, yes,
So it's a different day every day,
yeah.
different
So
combination
I,
of
I,
like,
I would always, say that about my profession, is that the beautiful thing is like I never stop learning, right? And like there's never, as you know, it's always different, and there's so much variety and just materials and different things that sometimes it's hard not to be overwhelmed by it, but if you can stay sort of contained, then you just can really enjoy the fact that there is the evolution is just continuous.
well, it is overwhelming, and that's why I leave interior design to you people and not me. Because I'm like, no, I'll design
That's
the
right.
spaces, I'll do your building permits till no tomorrow. But like, no, I'm not
That's
gonna pick
right.
out those finishes if I can help it. But almost every designer that I know, and everybody in the industry, and all the artists and everybody I've met through IDS at some point in time, but not you. We met because we were actually kind of competing on a project. And this kind of leads to what you just said about keep your staff and your family, because the thing about you that I just have always loved is there's just a generosity about you. And there's just like as a woman helping another woman, and like we got together on this very interesting project and we had a conversation about it. And it wasn't like, whoever was going to end up on the project at the end was almost irrelevant. It was like, how can we help each other through this really bizarre at the time kind of project and this whole thing? And I've just always respected you so much ever since that, because it was such a women
Right.
supporting women moment. And I was just meeting people in the design industry, and you were definitely one of the first people I met. And I was plunked into a project that I was
Right.
in no way prepared for and not
Right.
like trained for at all. And, it could have gone any way. And I just feel like no matter what, we had each other's back from that point on. And I've just loved that. And I can understand why for you, your company is like your family, and people stick by that. They love it and they respect it. And I think on International Women's Day, how we
That's
kind of
right.
met was a
That's
good
right. And
story for that.
I think actually, if you want me to take that back even one step further, that has been instilled in me from an experience that I had that was the opposite of that. So I have made it my mission, after having a really unfortunate experience as I entered into the design industry with a designer that wanted no part of me. She wanted, to offer up nothing, and essentially told me, "Oh, little girl, you will never be talking to this." And I was really horrified at the time. I was so excited to have the opportunity to work with her. We were working in the same store setting. And when that moment was in front of me and I was completely rejected by her, I had that lightning flash moment that, and I guess you would say almost the ego or the confidence to go, one day, I will be in your shoes, but I will never, ever treat another human, woman, anyone with that kind of shut off. And I will open my doors always to anybody. If I can provide any value to anybody that's entering into this industry or that's in the industry or that needs support at any time, that is where your true gratification comes from, is to feel that this learning experience that you have gone through, and sometimes really the hard way. And I did enter into this industry in a very atypical, not easy way. So when I look back at where I've come from and where I've got to, if I can bestow any of that to help somebody improve their situation, I'm more than happy to do so. So good.
Well, it impressed me. And I'm just going to turn my keyboard off, otherwise I'm going to do something weird here. I've always followed you. Obviously, we have kind of done things together off and on over the years.
We've always been in each other's worlds.
We have, and I love following you, not because I love you anyways, but because the thing about your projects is there's always that one element of pow. There's always that, like, you can look at a project and think, oh, that's pretty, and then you're like, oh my goodness, that's bang, that's look at that. There's always that kind of one element of, like, look at that fireplace. Come on now. Of like a surprise or like something unexpected. And I just really love that you guys have the clients that are willing to go there. How do you get a client to go there on
That's a great
crazy
question.
idea?
I feel like that is probably the passion coming through, because the client in some cases isn't asking for that. In fact, they very well may hear it. But if you come to them with the idea that what they are presenting as enough is okay, but it's not going to have an impact either on them or on the presentation of this room, that because in their eyes it's all new and they think, oh, this is great, but in the eyes of something more global or more international, that this is actually a very common, nice look. And if you want to take it to that next step and have something that does stand out, that really actually creates our value to do something that they couldn't do on their own, we need to push that much further. And so sometimes we're really trying to investigate what that is. We'll present something like, oh, no. Yeah, God, no. Okay, that's great. And we respect that. If they really are repelled by something, then we know that that's not the like, oh, yes.
You're not going to put it in their house. No. But I've had clients recently, and I've explained that sometimes you do have to go out there to end up somewhere over here, because if you're just going to stay here, I mean, it's going to be okay, but it might not actually function properly. It might not actually give you the beauty you're looking for. It might not actually be the thing quite yet. But sometimes if you just take a step out here for just a moment, and then you kind of come back somewhere in the middle, and then now you have something that's just amazing, and it functions and it works. I find I'm telling clients now that I'm focused on kitchens a lot, I keep saying, just trust me. I design, but I also cook. I understand how the kitchen needs to work. I know where the drawer exactly needs to be. I know that the prep station is the most important part of the kitchen. I know how you use it. You got to trust me when I do something kind of wild and crazy. And I just keep
And you've
using like,
nailed it.
please just trust me.
You're telling them that you have the expertise and the thoughtfulness, that you aren't being hasty in what you're presenting, that there is the reason, there is the reason to trust you on this. And so if you have done other things right, then in many cases they do trust you. They say, oh, I do trust her because all of these things that she's considering are very well thought through. They're very applicable to me. And I'm going to relinquish this control of what I thought I wanted, and I'm going to go outside potentially my comfort zone, but not way outside, because I feel like I'm still going to have all these things that are important to me considered.
Yeah. I like what's a practice in creating those relationships and, like you said, creating that trust boundary with your clients. And that's just kind of an ongoing, every client, like you said, is totally different. Takes a different kind of journey to get that trust together. And I've had a few where I'm like, we're just not trusting each other, and maybe you need to work with somebody else. And I'm okay with that too, because I think the trust factor is so important when you're giving somebody, and especially the kitchen, it's the most technical, most expensive part of the entire house. And if we don't have that level of like, I'm definitely going to do the best thing for you, then yeah, go ahead, hire somebody else. I'm not going to be fussed about it. You just really need to have that relationship with your client.
That's
and your designer.
exactly true, to know when to just wave the white flag, and that you're, because it's not using your abilities to the best of your abilities either. So I think that's great to know when it's just not the right fit.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a great project when everybody's just frustrated. You just won Designer of the Year then, KVA.
Second time.
I think the second time, right?
Yeah.
Wow. How have things been going through, COVID happening, and were people still designing, or maybe sometimes people aren't building, but they really want to update? And how has COVID kind of affected your business?
We haven't been able to party like we'd like to. Right? So
I miss the parties.
Really big parties, and winning an award is always a reason to party. So that's been a bit frustrating. But for the business, once I got over my fear factor with it and feeling that I needed to do something to stop the world from imploding and my business from imploding, and not knowing what that was, I realized that there was very little impact if I could pivot correctly. So it just was a matter of finding out how that changed the relationship with the clients. And we were very fortunate in the sense that we were very early adapters to Zoom. We were doing a project in the US where we never met clients. It was always on Zoom. So that was already a big part of our operation. And COVID just, in some respects, brought out some really good things about people. They were really identifying with their surroundings and what worked for them. And I think that when our business model was already very much about how do you live, what matters to the way you live, don't worry as much about the neighbors or this trend, but think thoughtfully about things that are important to you. It really helped that process work effectively.
And I think people have been spending so much time in their homes, they were starting to look at it and go, well, maybe that doesn't actually work. And we've just thought it worked because we don't spend much time here. And now that we're here, we're like, oh, actually, if that wall was gone, this space would work so much better. Or if we just updated the kitchen, then we could we're enjoying our new cooking skills and our new sourdough baking skills or whatever. And if our kitchen just worked at a new level, we could really embrace that going forward. And I think there were a lot of positives as far as our relationships with our homes. And I'm all for that.
Pardon me, the number of clients that came to us that said that there was big areas of their home that they never used. And they just, I guess with life, they've been walking by these areas and coming and going and not really giving it a lot of thought, and realized that there was real estate that was just really poorly utilized. And they had suddenly ideas for what it could do for them. Of course, in a home office, a home gym, but like you say, a baking prep area, or all sorts of different things where they could really enjoy that real estate that is, if you're living anywhere around here, it's expensive real estate, right? You don't want it to be underutilized. So
Definitely to make the most of
inch.
every square inch if you
So
can.
that was I thought a really interesting aspect to what the clients brought, and it was exciting.
It's a good change up, and it's were you and your team were
We
at
didn't go
KBIS?
to KBIS in Florida this year when we won, unfortunately. Um,
Okay. Were you were at some show? I thought I was watching, and you guys had attended one of the design shows. But I know they're just starting to come back into live
if we can
shows and
make it,
stuff. So
we'll
it'll be
always be
exciting to
there.
get
So
inspired
So
again.
historically, we've always been
Yeah.
to KBIS in Vegas, or to any design show that we can attend. And certainly we're excited to see them come back and to be doing things live. I'm a creature that likes faces and hugs and people. And so that's been,
And
oh,
touching and feeling the new appliances. I'm really interested to see what's going to be new, because so much I feel has changed in the last 2 years that like the next kitchen bath or interior design show is
you're
going to be a whole nother
100%
level,
right.
I feel. And you're based
Yes.
in North Vancouver with your team, and you've been there
No, so
since you started. Have you been
North Van, we have a funny relationship. I have always been in Vancouver. I had numerous locations in Vancouver for Beyond Beige, and I came to North Van kicking and screaming. I had the opportunity to take a much bigger location over here that just wasn't available in Vancouver, and took that opportunity reluctantly, very reluctantly, and started expanding Beyond Beige here, and never thought for a minute that I would end up living here as well. That's just, I had to sort of do like an AA program of apologizing to all the people that had moved here before me, and I told them that they were just going to go to bed at 8 p.m. and they were just ridiculous for living here. So I now have a real love affair with North Vancouver. I have my business here, I have my home here, and I feel like it's a really wonderful place to operate out of. And of course, it didn't do as I thought, that we would never, have projects outside of North Vancouver again. We still have more of our projects outside of North and West Vancouver than in. So, and it's been great.
I just have always associated you with North Vancouver, so that's funny to hear. And you're not only running with a team. How many
10
are on your team now?
on the Beyond Beige team.
10, and
Yes.
plus raising
Yes, so I'm
3.
yes, so I'm single-handedly running the business, and 3 children, 2, 4, and 8, and so it is a busy old job at any given time.
It's a juggling act that I felt. So I left architecture firm life when I had one of the
Yeah,
boys. We'd already had the 2 girls, and then kept going and kept going. And I didn't miss it, but I really miss like you talk about that family and stuff, and just having like somebody to lean over the cubicle and say, excuse me, like, what do you think of this color? What do you think of this design and stuff like that? So bravo to you
yeah,
for keeping it all going. Even though I'm sure as a mother, we feel like we're always dropping
right.
at least 12 of the balls that are up in the air.
Yeah,
So
I
be
was
it.
the,
We're still doing it.
sort of shameless in-office breastfeeder. So I would, be behind a desk and be like, "What do you want? Oh, let me look at that."
No shame in that whatsoever. I mean, women just have this
You just
ability
have to.
to just get it done. Is there a baby on me? Fine, we'll still get it done. Is the sky falling? Fine, we'll still get it done. Did the construction site fall
That's
apart? No problem. We're still going to get it done. And women are
That's
just
right.
like,
It's just
we
the
are
way it's got to
doers.
be. If you can see the humor in it and just how comical it can be at certain times, I've had the most, comedic elements to trying to do that juggling act. And sometimes it works really well. And sometimes it's an epic fail as I've, gone to, oh, well, it gets into too much information, but, had elements that have not worked as well as others with trying to juggle clients and a baby is sometimes a lot, but I'm just so grateful to have the three kids, being that I had them later in life. They didn't come easy, so I wasn't going to sacrifice one or the other. Yeah.
Well put, and nor should you. Well, people should be following Beyond Beige on Instagram for sure, because you guys post tons of beautiful photos. It's like my own little Pinterest. I just like look at your feed and go.
Like it.
And following, and of course, if anybody needs designer, go to her, not me. I'll do your kitchen design, and then she'll make it pretty.
Going to be able to.
I'll make it work. I'll make the bones work, and then you can make it beautiful. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I love catching up with you. We're going to go out for proper cocktails soon.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Elsa.
Thank you.
Bye.